2002. So there you go.
This was the year after them.
So some of these kids wasn't even a thought, you know. So I like Seminary. They have a big defensive end, just like West Jones. I think Seminary beats Water Valley.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm gonna go with you on that one. I think they'll probably win it by, I'd say 4 points to 7. They just had a remarkable season. You know, they've won 10 or 11 straight to get to this point. Obviously, they're fired up. They're playing for a teammate that got injured in a car wreck, I believe. So they, I know for the coin toss every game they towed his jersey out there in remembrance of him, and just done a good job in beating the teams that they've played. Obviously, they've beat Jeff Davis County twice this year, and that's something that not many teams do. They're a powerhouse tradition when they were Bassfield, and so I would have to give the nod to Seminary in this game. I think they'll take care of business once again.
Yeah, I think Seminary wins here, and it's going to be a good game for sure. Okay, what about the 2A state championship? I know Taylorsville's in it. Who are they going to be taking?
They will be playing Scott Central, who is 14-1. Obviously, Taylorsville's undefeated on the year at 15-0. It's going to be a good game. I think everybody in the north kind of figured that Scott Central was going to make it to this point. Thankful that they wasn't in the South Division. Otherwise, they'd have to face Taylorsville in the South State Championship. But they're in the North. Going to be a good game, I think. Obviously, you have to take into account that Taylorsville is going to be without their quarterback that won their state championship for them last year and has brought them back to this point this year. He suffered a hairline fracture on his ankle versus Bay Springs in the South State Championship, and they had to win it without him, believe it or not. The go-ahead touchdown that Taylorsville scored was after the fact of Keys getting injured, so they're going to be relying on another freshman quarterback to try to win them another state championship, a back-to-back wins. That's what they're going for Taylorsville, and I think the last time they did that, their head coach, Mitch Evans, was the quarterback at Taylorsville. I'm going to have to go with Scott Central in this game. I think they'll win. I think not having Ty Keys at quarterback is really it's going to be a big deal for Taylorsville. He's been the reason that they've been so successful. Obviously, they have a bunch of other kids on their team that's very talented, but I think not having Ty Keys is going to be the difference in this game. I would say Scott Central by, I'm going to have to say Scott Central by 10.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Scott Central wins here, and I'm going to say by 2 touchdowns. I think not having Ty Keys is going to be the difference maker here, James, because he was really a good playmaker and got them out of a lot of sticky situations, especially against Bay Springs in the South State Championship. So I'm going to go. You're
all about those 2 touchdown wins, aren't
you? It's going to be some 2 touchdowns wins, although I could be wrong. And, I've been wrong before. I've been sometimes, especially in this broadcast, but I guess it's the sweet tea. It's so good here at Raising Cane's. So let's talk about the 1A. Hollandale Simmons.
There you go.
At Nanawaya.
Did
I get it right?
You got it right. Yeah, they're 14-0 on the season. I think they're like a 55-game win streak. They're just a powerhouse in 1A football. Taking on Nanawaya, who's they played for the state championship last year against Hollandale Simmons and lost. And they're a team that has been predominantly good nearly every year here in recent years in the South, and they're going to give. I think going to give Simmons quite a game. And I'm actually going to go for the upset in this game. I think Nanawaya is going to get it done.
Not so fast, my friend. There's a reason Hollandale Simmons is so good, and it's been there the last several years.
Yeah.
They're going to continue that streak, and they're going to beat Nanawaya by 2 touchdowns. How about that?
Yeah, well, 2 touchdowns, huh?
Yeah. I think the South's going to go 4-2 overall in the state championships here and come out pretty strong.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, just something to mention with these 2 teams. Simmons has won the state championship in 2017, 16, and 15.
Okay.
Thus, their 55-game win streak. But I think that will be broken
All right.
This of any of the games I'm picking an upset. I'm picking an upset in this one.
Okay.
And the biggest game I think of this state championship.
All right. Well, good deal. We'll see what goes on. You know, who's right, James or John this time? Okay. So y'all remember that.
Tally it up, audience.
Yeah, tally it up. You know, just remember.
We'll meet you back here next week and see who.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next Tuesday here at Raising Canes. All right, let's take a break, and we'll be back, and we'll talk a little sports news. You know, Jackson State's hired a new head football coach. I mean, how many coaches does Jackson State go through?
They've had 4 and 8 years, I think.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a revolving door out there.
You know, anybody can get on at Jackson State, you know. But we'll talk about that coming up. And other news, hey, the Caravan. It's seemingly disappearing now. Where is it going? Nobody knows. And then some weird news.
Yep.
All this coming up. Hey, we got a lot to talk about and little time to do it. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back and we're ready to talk some sports. And Jackson State, now here's a program that has been going through a lot of issues. I mean, it's like every other year, it's like they have a new football coach. And they've named John Hendricks as their next head football coach. Jackson State, he's a 20th head football coach in school history, and he's a veteran, according to Ashley Robinson, JSU's vice president and director of athletics. He's been a few places and has had some success. James, what do you think about Hendricks going to Jackson State? I mean, he's been around the SWAC a lot, and he's been in a few programs, been in a few D1 programs. He was at Mississippi State, under Jackie Sherrill, been at Kansas State, but has been a lot in the SWAC here as of late. Do you think he's going to make a difference?
At this point, it's kind of hard to tell. It's just, Jackson State just hasn't had a lot of success here recently in head coaches. So it's kind of hard to say right now. Just kind of, just a little bit reading about him. He's 36 year of coaching, so obviously he's a veteran. He's been around the game for a long time. Been on 14 different staff. He's been at 3 different SEC schools as an assistant coach. He was their interim head coach, kind of like one of those Matt Luke situations where they just kind of went with the guy that was interim. He won 2 of their last 3 games and led them to their first winning season in a good while. I think, I'm not sure exactly. It was their first non-losing season since 2013. So I'm assuming they may be tied on the year. I'm not sure. I have to go back and check their record, but I know that they've. This is their first non-losing season since 2013, and all because of him leading them to 2 wins in their last 3 games. So he's a defensive guy. He was a defensive coordinator for them before they gave him the interim tag. It's kind of hard for me to judge defensive coaches as head coaches. It just sometimes, most of the times, I don't think they work out as well as people maybe want to.
Johnson, for
and I mentioned him, had a lot of success at Auburn as the defensive coordinator, and Southern Miss was like, hey, he's got an SEC tag on him. Let's bring him in here to Conference USA. Maybe he'll do us some good. And he led them to the worst season ever.
Yeah, so, I agree. Ellis Johnson's an example. He was at Mississippi State. He was at, I think, LSU season. Been kind of everywhere, even South Carolina in the SEC. He just didn't work out. So maybe Hendricks can do a little better. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, but how about Fred McNair doing a great job at Alcorn State, leading them to another SWAC championship? They're going to be taking on Southern Saturday in the SWAC championship. How about that?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game there, I believe.
They're going to be taking on Southern University. They beat Southern University earlier in the year 20-3, so they could get them again. You never know, James.
Yeah. Well, I've always said it's hard to beat a team twice in a season. But if you dominated that first game as well as they did, I would see that probably be a lot closer game this time, I would imagine. But I think they'll be able to pull out the win there.
Absolutely. Also tonight on CBS Sports Network, you're going to have East Mississippi taking on Garden City Community College. How about that? That's going to be a high-scoring game on CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, definitely a game that I'm going to be following and watching a little bit. East Mississippi, man, they're just another level.
A different beast.
Yes, they. Jones played them close, so that was a really good game. Probably could have won that game had they not had 5. I think it was about 4 or 5 turnovers in that game. That really cost them some points, but nevertheless, I was watching forgot who I was watching it. Dabo Swinney. Dabo. Love Dabo. He's one of my favorite coaches in college football, and he was talking about how wins are wins. Don't care how you get them.
Yeah.
So East Mississippi got a win. Probably didn't care at that point how they got it, but they knew that at the end of the day they were the state champions, and then obviously they're getting a chance to play for the national title once again. And best of luck to our Mississippi boys. I know we have a few that plays for East Mississippi that's from this area. Obviously, one of their biggest players is Dontario Drummond, wide receiver.
Yeah.
They're at East Mississippi, just incredible athlete, one-handed catches like you ain't never seen.
Oh yeah, he does a great job at that. I remember him at Laurel taking catches from Keon Howard like they wasn't nothing. So, go Lions. Going to be a high-scoring game though. That's
Probably
for sure.
Probably so.
Another game tonight. Who that say they gonna beat them Saints? Who that? It ain't gonna be the Cowboys. I can tell you that much because the Saints are gonna roll all over the I love Dak Prescott. He's a Bulldog, James.
Yeah.
He's been doing good at Dallas, a lot better than Tony Romo, who got hurt all the time.
Yeah.
But the Saints are just playing at a different level right now, and I think they go into Dallas and just terrorize that Cowboy defense.
I mean, think about this game, man. You know,